Hey, good morning, David.
Good morning. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. So it's been a little bit of time. We've had a lot of fun. We did a big draft show, and then we were gonna go live Monday. We didn't do Monday show. That's on me. And we'll go ahead and roll with it. Friday, I kind of want to do something short and talk a little bit about myself. And then Saturday comes, and May the 4th be with you. There was going to be this epic show, and it just kind of it didn't happen. It got titled and moved to the following weekend. So keep your guys' eyes out and ears out, and anything for the alerts for notifications that you may have. If you know, you know. For Better Worlds, we're going to talk for Better Worlds. We're going to have some fun there. But David, it's Cinco de Mayo. So how you feeling?
Feeling good, buddy. It's like, it's party time in the city I live in. About to hear some music playing, and some folks are going to be having barbecues in their backyard.
Well, I'm really excited. I won't be drinking this holiday, but we'll probably have a little nice cookout. It's good, always fun. Good morning, Tommy Huxley. We have Tony in the kitchen right now. She's got breakfast for the little ones. We got Mr. McNiner, Mr. Bryant Culp, our friend, Mr. David Corona. Thank you very much for coming, David. So, it's been a lot of fun. Cinco de Mayo is one of those holidays, kind of like St. Patrick's Day. It's one of those holidays that has grown over the years. I'm curious, David, do you think Kwanzaa is going to take on any fire? Is it going to get any speed, or people going to start, is it the new thing, Kwanzaa?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Not yet.
You never know what's going to happen in the future, though, right?
Thanksgiving's primary, it's basically an American holiday as well, huh?
Yep. We could all be gone 2 weeks from now, to quote a certain 49er head coach.
We could. Did you see the video this after the draft and stuff? He was getting interviewed, and he got ready to talk, and he was going to do it again, and he said, "I don't need to give you guys another another clip like that." So I think he's getting a little bit more. He's pausing better, and he's responding to the questions not as rapidly. He's having a little bit more patience, and I think that's important. You can't just snap off, and even if you don't want to be there, you don't want to do this, you don't want to talk to so and so. That's what you got to do right there, and you got to be civil. So shout out to Kyle for maturing. What would you say?
Well, Kyle, I watched a lot of clips about, the phone calls to the players in the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm convinced his favorite word is awesome. Because it comes up a lot in all those clips,
Awesome.
Word
of the day, folks.
It does. Awesome. It's awesome. He's like, awesome. Every time we talk to a guy, awesome came up a couple times. It's like, I think it's his favorite word. But, awesome is awesome, right? So
that is so awesome. I'm going to try to incorporate that as much as I can today, because that's just awesome. That really is. Now I'm going to go and look, and I'm going to try to watch when he's, because you don't get to see necessarily the words that they're saying. Sometimes it's just like a quick, like they'll mute them. Sometimes you don't get the full, see the whole, hey, well, it's going to be a lot of hard work, and awesome. Well, so I'm going to be looking for it now. I'm going to try to lip read. So folks, yes, you heard it right. The word of the day is awesome. And maybe we'll just make it the word of the week. We'll just, if you see someone around in the chat, make sure you say, have an awesome day or something. That's pretty cool. So any plans for this weekend? We got the Mother's Day big shindig, we got to honor that holiday. That should be everybody's date on the calendar circled. Make sure you do something with your moms if you get a chance to. I'm gonna try to say hi to my mom, and I'm gonna go and I think I'm gonna take Tony. I think I'm gonna take Tony out, and we'll we might go out and listen to some music. So I think that might be some fun. And stay tuned for the notifications on that because a good friend told us about it. So we're hoping to meet up and see him. So that's my plans for right now. But for today, before we get started on today, again, what's your plans for next weekend? We have Cinco de Mayo this weekend, so it sounds like everybody's having a party. Maybe a little bit more of a relaxed party, and then maybe hopefully next weekend it's more of a I don't know. You don't always have to get dressed up when you see mom, but hopefully you're getting to sit down and maybe I don't know if you've ever drank a beer with your mom. That's not the worst thing in the world either, But I don't think Cinco de Mayo is all about drinking, and I don't think Mother's Day should be either. So, do you have any plans for Mother's Day next week, David?
Probably go to my mom's house and cook because I'm a good cook and she tries, but she's got some dishes she can cook, but she always has me come cook because she knows I'm a good cook. So you know,
So was she the one who taught you how to cook, or was it your dad, or did you do it on your own?
I kind of did it on my own because when I was younger, I would my girlfriend slash my daughter's mom essentially. She was working like swing shift and I was working day shift. So I would come home, have to take care of my daughter and would have to cook dinner and I came up with all kinds of different stuff. She's actually big into seafood too. Like she loves shrimp.
That's funny. So I have some girls here at the house, and they're not the biggest seafood. Fish is one thing, but shrimp and crab that's a whole different ballpark, right? So like going out to sushi or something like that, or that's not happening at my house, and not by my choice. I mean, I'm not a super big explorer, when it comes to I like regular food. We'll just call it regular food, like normal food. I'm not a I don't need something super fancy to eat, but I'm a I would like to go out and eat some sushi or something like that. But the girls went to the grocery store the other day and they got that imitation crab meat. And I one, every time I eat it, I feel sleepy afterwards. And I always feel bad because I'm the only one eating it, right? Well, thank you. Um, I just, I do. I like it a lot, but sometimes we're having some instructions going on right now. I had some hand signals behind the scenes, folks, if you didn't know. Shout out to Lily. She's always coming in and asking if I need a cup of coffee or anything like that. The show is Coffee Talk. It's Culp McNiner, but we have a cup of coffee on the show in the mornings. And if you don't want to have a cup of coffee, again, it's Cinco de Mayo. Have whatever you want to drink. It's fine. We just hope you're enjoying the show. David, so get into food and stuff like that. I like to cook as well. And I do like to experiment and I like to cook dishes that we haven't ever cooked before. And, if I do decent at it, I like to try it again. So, with you guys, with you at night, because there's only so much top ramen you can cook, right? There's only so many scrambled eggs you can cook, but you can make eggs so many different ways. And I know I got a chef in the chat right now too, so they can probably tell us a bunch of different ways to cook an egg, right? But spaghetti, yeah, you can make spaghetti almost every night of the week. It could be vegetable, it could be pork, you can make chicken spaghetti. I don't really like chicken spaghetti, but you can do it. You can make hamburger spaghetti. You can put meatballs in spaghetti. So spaghetti's one of those meals at my house that we usually have once a week. And because we've had it so much, just doing something like fun, like changing the noodle, right? You change it from a regular spaghetti noodle to angel hair spaghetti, or there's fettuccine, there's linguine. Then we like to go a little bit different route too, and you can change it to a bow tie noodle, or you can go to a rigatoni noodle. there's a lot of different noodles out there, and it's still like ideally it's spaghetti. But when you change just the shape of the noodle or the texture of the noodle, it kind of throws the whole dinner into a different meal. So everybody who's listening, they're like, "What the heck is he talking about?" I got a point. So my point is, I like to experiment a little bit too, and I like to have, like I'm a peanut butter guy. I'm really really basic, right? But sometimes, you want to do something a little different, right? So we're getting to the meat and potatoes of the show, right? This is what we're getting at. Kyle, what kind of offense does Kyle like to run, David? Primarily, when we're winning.
Well, it's a form of the West Coast offense, right? But it's kind of a scheme, what zone scheme blocking, yards after the catch. It's kind of an interesting version of the West Coast offense.
So would you agree he primarily likes to run the ball and when he has his choice?
Yes.
So
Well, and keep in mind though, we didn't have a good quarterback. I don't think he had a lot of faith in James Richard Garoppolo, and so as we were going, he would run the ball as much as he can to try to limit, what the James throwing to opposite team's linebacker. Let's be honest, right? And I'm thinking you might have looked at these prospects we have and noticed the difference in specifically the offensive linemen. Because every time we draft one, McGlinchey, Banks, Burford, Zakel, they're all good, really good run blockers. They score, we're talking PFF, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but they score good at run blocking, okay at pass blocking. These offensive linemen we picked up are really good at pass blocking and are okay at run blocking. So does that show maybe a shift in philosophy or shift in direction?
it's interesting because just like we were talking with like the noodles and the sauce, you change one thing, it still almost tastes the same, but it starts to get a little different, right? So if you put a little bit of olive oil in your water when you're cooking, your noodles don't stick together so much, right? You don't have to worry about maybe putting salt or something in the water when you do it. So by him switching out maybe a wide receiver, and we know you can't keep everybody. You can't keep everybody, but because you tried them last year and they fit last year, right? They worked last year. They were cheap. They were on the menu, right? They were affordable and they went in the grocery cart. But now you got to go shopping again, and it's not that they're expired. It's not that you can't use them, but what else can we cook with, right? So, and maybe if we add somebody else to them, so maybe you take a wide receiver that you had last year that you weren't utilizing, and you add a guard in, like you're talking about right now, and maybe because it's a better passing guard, now that wide receiver has that second or half a second or whatever he needs, and now our new quarterback that we have, because we went through multiple quarterbacks. Let's be honest. We had CJ. Let's not even say CJ. Let's start out with the right way. We had Brian Hoyer, and you can't say that Kyle didn't try to have a passing offense when he had Brian Hoyer. But there was moments in the game where Brian Hoyer didn't have the time to throw the ball, and he got hit too quick. And I think he got mad, or he just said, "Hey, I don't want to keep getting hit out here." Because there was that game, the 49ers are in the black uniforms, I believe, and the Rams were in their yellow uniforms. And the Niners and Rams went down. It was like 40 something points against each other. That was a pretty high scoring game there. And it was Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer, and we were throwing it to Jordan Reed, I believe. That's when Jordan Reed was healthy. But again, that's just one of those things where it was just different formula, different ingredients. Then Hoyer comes out because he was getting hit. CJ goes in. Maybe CJ can take the hits, but he wasn't getting the ball out fast enough, right? He wasn't getting it to the players that Hoyer was. Is it because Hoyer was a veteran, or was it because Hoyer was that much better of a passer? CJ Beathard had that really deep pass to Marquise Goodwin. It was like an 80-yard pass, longest touchdown pass of the season. And then, CJ, we seen what was happening with him. He was getting hit all the time. And then here comes a veteran, and you can call him a veteran, but you can call him a rookie too. But he was in the league for 4 years. Jimmy Garoppolo comes in and doesn't listen to Kyle's play calling, right? Or maybe Kyle tells him just go out there and do something. We don't really know. Maybe that's the whole thing. Jimmy gets too much credit for just going out there and doing something, and Kyle gets a little jelly or whatnot, and the next thing you know it. But we whipped off 5 games in a row, and then we went 7-0 with Jimmy Garoppolo just for playing backyard football, and then it starts to go from there. He gets injured, and everything goes down from there. So again, new change of formula. I like that. I really do. The ingredients have changed at quarterback. The ingredients have changed at wide receiver. They've also changed at the lineman, but they've done it in small shifts. So it's like you still see spaghetti, on your plate, but it's not necessarily just spaghetti anymore, huh? It might be spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti with mushrooms. Now we got a little bit of garlic bread on the plate too, right? Okay, David, how do you feel about the wide receivers that we drafted this year? Our draft class and our undrafted class.
So Tariq Owens, he's 6'3", he's pretty much about the same size as his dad, right? And undrafted free agent. So, maybe Terrell won't be mad if we cut him and put him on the practice squad, right? Then you got Jacob Cowing, I'm calling him the Mighty Mouse because he's a little guy, 5'8", 168 pounds. Speedy, shifty, slot receiver / punt returner, right? And he could turn into something, which could be the end for Danny Gray. Danny Gray better show up if he plans on staying on this team. Then we got Slick Rick, Ricky Purcell. And he can go outside slot. He's got decent speed, good yards after the catch, good route running. It's kind of interesting, though, that Kyle drafts 2 wide receivers. When was the last time he did that? Wasn't Jalen? What was his name? Jalen Hurd. He was the second wide receiver in a draft, right?
Yep, with Debo.
Yeah, and we all know how that worked out. Jalen Hurd, his body couldn't hold up, right? And it's kind of sad because he was big, fast. He would have been an absolute nightmare if he actually would have been able to hit the field on our offense, right? But now we got Ricky Purcell and Jacob Cowing and Tariq Owens too. Although I'm not giving him a good chance to make the roster at this point. But a couple years from now, team's going to change a little bit, right? Not everybody can stay forever. Where football players aren't ageless, so we have expiring contracts. You got to think about the future, right?
That's right.
On top of that, I think Kyle's looking to pass the ball more. Between the offensive linemen we drafted and signed in UDFA, being better pass blockers and run blockers, and us drafting 2 wide receivers, I think Kyle's looking to pass the ball more now that we got, Brock Purdy.
Okay, so we did get 2 wide receivers. And if you want to count Tyreek Owens, that would be 3 wide receivers, but that's undrafted free agent. So the reason I bring it up, we drafted 2 wide receivers. We drafted 1 running back. So we got 2 wide receivers, 1 running back in the draft. We got a total of 3 wide receivers with the undrafted. Okay. I like to just say the whole draft, right? Undrafted free Yeah, UDFA draft. It's all the same thing. You this year, your guys are our rookies, right? So we got 3 wide receivers and we have 2 running backs, and we have a really fast running back. We have our home run hitter in Cody Schrader. So I'm again seeing what you're saying and agreeing with what you're saying, but it's small steps, right? It's we're not going to completely abandon this philosophy because we win this way, but we want to slowly start winning this way. So we have a speedy wide receiver. We're going to get another speedy wide receiver because why? This wide receiver goes down, we can still do what we wanted to do. We don't have to totally, completely change our philosophy. So what did they do? We have a CMC, and we know how hard it is to get CMC off the field. Now they go and get another CMC. And I know, Bryant, you're jumping all around. Wide receiver, now you're talking running back, but that's what they did. We have a really fast guy with Danny Gray. Now they go and get fast wide receivers. They get wide receivers that can play on special teams. And special teams this year is going to be a little different. So, folks, it's going to be, you might want to have some rookies out there catching the ball on kickoff instead of having your dynamic, face of the franchise running back like CMC out there. But hey, don't be worried. Don't be afraid. Football players, they play football and sometimes they get hurt. That's why, again, you have to draft the replacements. You have to draft somebody who also is of equal talent or maybe superior and just needs to learn the ropes. And you get somebody like Cody Schrader. And that's our undrafted free agent, David. That's not even the one we drafted. The one we drafted, our running back we drafted, I butcher his last name. What pick?
Garendo.
Can you say it again?
Garendo.
His name's Isaac, and he's from Louisville. So he's a good old boy. I'm from Kentucky as well. I know what good old boys are, and I know there's a mentality when you're from Kentucky, you work hard, and this is what kind of player that the 49ers like. They want somebody that is going to be able to fit the molds. David, how do you feel about the rest of the draft? We've talked a little bit about our wide receivers. We've talked a little bit about our line and our running backs. How do you feel about
Garendo's fast too, right?
He's very fast.
Like Garendo and Schrader, they're both fast.
Yes.
And we've needed that change of pace running back, since Matt Breida left. And now we have 2 opportunities to have that change of pace running back on the roster. The rest of the draft. What else did we draft? The linebacker.
Yep. Tatum.
Right.
Bethune. Thank you. Florida State. A lot of guys from Florida this year. A lot of guys from Florida. We got
true.
And this is our last pick of the draft. And then we also got a safety, Malik Mustafa. I'm really excited about him. And we got a cornerback, Renardo Green, also from Florida State. So other than guards, linemen, running back, wide receiver, we got a linebacker and we got a safety. And we got a cornerback. Now, as far as our undrafted, so real quick, just so everybody knows, running back, wide receiver was our first pick. Cornerback was our second pick. Offensive tackle, safety, running back, wide receiver. We didn't get anything in the 5th round. We picked up a guard, Jarrett Kingston from USC, who's going to be good. He's going to be good, but he's not really a tackle. And then we got a linebacker, Tatum Bethune. As far as our undrafted free agents, we got a running back, we got a corner, a defensive lineman, a tight end. Here we go. Quarterback, Tanner Mordecai. Wide receiver, defensive back, and offensive lineman. So where do you want to start, David? You want to talk about our tight end? Pause. Or do you want to talk about our defensive lineman? You want to talk about our center? Where would you like to talk?
Well, our tight. Let's talk about the corner. Renardo Green, right?
Okay.
Lots of pass breakups. Good size, good speed. He had a problem. He's real handsy, folks. You know, but it's not a like a Ambry Thomas. I got beat handsy. He's physical handsy, right? So we're gonna have to coach him up a little bit. You know, teach him not to use his hands so much after 5 yards, right? And then we're also going to teach him to turn around and look for the ball, because when you turn around and look for the ball, you can pass interfere all you want. That's literally what the rule says. If the corner can turn is turning and looking back at the ball, he can run into the wide receiver. You know, it's kind of crazy how that works, but and I mean I've seen it called both ways, but that's what the rule says. Corner can turn his head and turns his head back to look at the ball. It's not pass interference, right? So he has a lot of potential, though. And the guy can play, he's versatile. He can play outside corner, inside corner, or safety. So you know how we like those versatile players, right? And, could it spell the end for maybe Lenore Ward, or even who Funga is a free agent after this year? All three of those guys are free agents. So, maybe, and you can't re-sign everybody. So maybe the Niners are counting on, that we're going to be hitting that salary cap at this point with all the big contracts we have. And we're going to be re-signing Brock Purdy, right? So, maybe we're counting on the fact that we're going to have to let 2 out of 3 of those guys walk.
David, could you see a situation where we don't re-sign BA and we trade away both Debo and BA in the upcoming, or they both end up walking? We got a lot of wide receivers right now.
We do have a lot of wide receivers right now. I'm honestly looking at BA's younger, and he's been ascending every year, just getting better. So at this point, I think BA's going to be a keeper. And, at one point I was thinking, yeah, we're trading him because, you can't keep everybody. And then we picked 2 wide receivers in the draft, and I'm like, well, they didn't trade him during the draft, so obviously they're not planning on trading him now. But after June 1st, if we trade Debo, the dead cap hit drastically drops. So could that be what we're looking at? It could be, but I honestly think that we're going to re-sign BA, and, maybe if Debo's with us during the season, more power to us. But I could see us trading him after June 1st at this point.
All right, so we'll just make it clear. You are not in favor of letting BA go, but you are not opposed to letting go. I want to make it clear. I am okay with letting them both go. I think they both cost us the Super Bowl. I think with the amount of targets that Debo got in the first 2 Super Bowls of his career are not historic numbers. They're nothing that you want to show off. We're more excited about CMC getting what? Did he have 80 yards rushing and 80 yards passing in the Super Bowl? 80 yards receiving and rushing. We're super excited about that, right? But Debo, this is your second Super Bowl, and your numbers look comparable to both. Ayuk did not dominate the game either. If he was completely open, if he played the way everybody, says the man is, then he would have got the ball more. You do not target Debo the entire game if your other guy, BA, our fan favorite wide receiver, is just lighting him up. And when he did have his opportunities, well, so again, I could see the Niners moving off both our wide receivers right now, Debo and Ayuk, because of their contracts and because we got their replacements already in the building. And if you look at the social media, if you are listening to what these guys are saying, I mean, ideally, we basically said it at the beginning of the game, beginning of the show. You don't get younger. You are replaceable. You get more expensive over time. The rookies come in. They might be a little bit cheaper at the moment, but look at the longevity and look at their future. Their future, right? It's bright. It's unknown. So is it better to take the risk in the unknown or let the veterans stay around and you pay for an older used car? And that's basically what it's getting to, right? You have players that are getting older, they're used, they have their limitations, but their jersey's in my closet. I don't want them to go anywhere, right, David? You don't want them to go anywhere either. But if you got the replacement in the building and they're just as fast as the guy. So with Debo, we all know Debo can't really be replaced, right? Him with his little tiny arms and his aggressive body style, play action, but he gets hurt all the time, right? That's his knock. Everybody likes seeing him run over everybody, but when he's injured and we can't see him on the field, that's when we start talking about his contract, and that's when we start talking about all the bad, right? But when he's on the field running over people, we forget about that. Ayuk's great, right? But why are you going to pay $30 million to a undersized wide receiver? Ayuk's your height, isn't he, David? You're taller than me. I'm like 5'7" on a good day. You're closer to Ayuk's height than me. And Ayuk's 5'11", 5'10"?
I think he's supposedly listed at 6 foot even, but
When
he's
standing
also
on
a
his
4'5", 40 guy, and Purcell's is 4'1". Cowing's 4'38". Danny Gray is 4'33". So the two guys we drafted are faster. Like Debo's a 4'48" guy. So, and I mean, in the Super Bowl, Debo was being covered by an all-pro corner, and we targeted him 11 times.
Right. It says it right here. It says it right here. Brandon Ayuk is 6 foot when he's standing on his tippy toes. It literally says that right here. I'm not. So he's kind of like me. I'm 5'7" on a good day, right? So on a good day, he's 6 foot. So okay, so he's not our fastest wide receiver. He's not our tallest wide receiver, but he's asking for more money than anybody else on our team right now. He wants more money than Debo, if I'm correct, right? But we're not targeting him as much as Debo. Why? Are we afraid to pay the man, David, or was he just not getting open? What do you think?
I don't think he was getting open. That there was that one play everyone's pointing at where he's in the end zone wide open, but our offensive line failed and Chris Jones had a free path to Brock Purdy, But that didn't happen all game. And he was covered by Snead, who's a good corner, and he was a Pro Bowler, but he wasn't an all-pro like the guy that was on Debo. And that guy that was on Debo was on Debo. You throw him the ball, the dude was breaking up the pass. So it was like,
and let me ask you,
if Ayuk is such a great receiver, he would have been open more, right?
And let me ask you too: is Ayuk's wingspan longer than Debo's?
Yes.
Is Debo compared to Ayuk? Who do you think's the better catcher?
Ayuk.
So why don't you throw Ayuk the ball? Unless they're, let's not give Ayuk the MVP, because if we give him the MVP, he's going to ask for that much more money in negotiations. So why would you punch yourself in the face and lose the Super Bowl when you could have used the best player on the field? Unless Ayuk's not the best player. He wasn't open.
He wasn't open. Right?
I think that's exactly it. You can get mad all you want. You can say we're moving to a different city or they didn't throw me the ball. Well, why am I going to throw you the ball when you're not open? But Debo was open, or was Debo only open in flashes? Like, was Brock Purdy forcing the ball into Debo's hand? Because I don't know. I mean, like, at a certain point, they stopped playing 49 football out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I saw as we were throwing the ball to a covered wide receiver. You know, thinking Debo was going to win, you know, the one-on-one matchup, but he didn't. So, you know, it's like, and I mean, Kansas City, Andy Reid, you know, maybe he has Kyle's number. You know, you remember that regular season game where they just spanked us, you know. And then here we
Now
are
they
in the
have
Super Bowl, right?
we can look back at the beginning of the season when Brock Purdy and it was the corner from the Steelers, and they were jarring back and forth, and they attempted the pass against Debo was the wide receiver there, and Brock Purdy attempted the pass right there, right? That was so. I know Brock Purdy believes in Debo because everybody said they should have went to BA. BA should have been the guy that, you know, he should have tested against that corner, but it was Debo. So they did that back in the beginning of the year. So Debo this entire year has been the man. But BA's better, right?
He's a better catcher and route runner, but you get the ball in their hands. Debo's a better yak guy, right? I mean, neither of them are speedy. They're not, you know, humongous wide receivers. They're not, you know, it's all about the scheme and getting schemed open. And Brandon Ayuk, Snead was all over him during that game. And just like, I don't know the name of the all-pro corner that was on Debo, but he followed Debo the whole game. And the guy's an all-pro for a reason. He's really good. Maybe this is the time where you start, you know, looking at Kittle, right? Oh, that's right. Our offensive line was having issues blocking, so he had to stay in, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So why aren't you running the ball then? Because you're not blocking well enough to run the ball. I thought when you block the run, when you run the ball, you make the defense become more honest, and they have to respect the run. Then, if they're trying to sack the quarterback every play and you break off a run, then they have to take a little bit of a step back a little bit, and that's when you can open up the passing game. But I'm not a coach. I played football for a little while, but I'm not a coach. But I thought that was the formula, or it's been the old time formula. Hey, we got royalty coming in from across the pond. What's up, Gav? Thank you, Gav, for coming through. So we got another year with Juice, and I think that's a great time because we have Notorious Gavin. So folks, please, when you go on social media, please hashtag 49ers, make Juice a captain. We got to make it right. And I think it's a good year to make him a captain. He was actually somebody that they went to in the Super Bowl. I was very happy to see them go to Juice in the Super Bowl, and he showed out every time they went to him. He caught the ball and he did well. Juice and Jennings was the two that did. They were our bloodline right there. They were the reasons our team was doing what they were doing in the Super Bowl. If it wasn't for them, we really could have shot ourselves in the foot. But like Jason said too, we didn't run the ball for a very long time. CMC didn't get the ball. You can't come out and be a passing team if your wide receivers, they can't get open. You can run the best route in the world, but if the corner's running right next to you, basically holding your hand, I don't know, David. I really don't know what to say. So now we went and got 3 new wide receivers, and we've let go a wide receiver already. And we have potentially two wide receivers on contract negotiation trade talks. And we did listen to offers for both Debo and Ayuk during the draft. And I think maybe that's the reason we took a wide receiver with our first round pick. What do you think?
I think that could be the case too, because if you're taking picks this year are technically worth more than picks next year because you don't know what the next year's picks are going to be. So that's why I'm of the belief that when Debo gets traded, it'll be after June 1st. And we just took 2 wide receivers. We have 6 spots. We have 11 wide receivers right now. Something's got to give. You got Debo, Ayuk, Jennings. I'm going to have to say the 2 rookies are going to make the roster because they're rookies. And, Kyle typically will keep a rookie over someone he's had a couple years because you got to see what the rookie has, right? So that's 5. That's 5 roster spots right there. So we have 6 guys competing for 1 roster spot. And those 6 guys, Ronnie Bell, Danny Gray, Tariq Owens, Tay Martin, Chris Conley, and I forget who the other guy is.
Well, we just let Snead go. We just let Snead go.
Yeah, did you saw that tweet, huh?
Mm-hmm. And we typically go into camp with we typically go into camp with 11 to 12 wide receivers. We keep about between 6 to 8. We really do. Somehow we stash them to the practice squad, and we really put that many on because we try to get these guys on special teams. So I'm thinking people like Ronnie Bell. I know he's somebody we drafted last year, but I think he has a potential to stay on the roster over somebody like Conley or who's the other one, Inichu or the one we got from the Arena Football League. He's really fast.
That's the 11th guy. I can't remember his name.
I think I think he wore number 88 if I can't remember. But somebody like Conley, somebody like him, I think that they're really good players, but I think we end up losing them. And sometimes that's really sad because you look at what you have invested in someone's draft stock and you're like, oh, well, what about their potential and this and that? But this player who's been around for a while, a veteran who's bounced around on different teams, somebody like a Mostert, you say, okay, we're going to let him go and we're going to keep somebody like Elijah Mitchell. And I'm just throwing out, players for, ideal. And it's the wrong move. It really is. We should have kept Mostert. If we would have kept Mostert, I don't think he really lost a step in Miami, has he? I think really the only thing that's changed is he's not getting attacked by fans in Miami anymore. And that's horrible. I mean, we get so mad at, not me or you, but fans get so mad that they're going to start attacking people's family. Your family. David, does anybody like come at you, or do you go at someone's family at like McDonald's, like your son can't even make a good Big Mac? You see him out there in the parking lot when they're picking up their kid or something like that. No. So because these guys are like, again, maybe these guys, maybe their problems are they get on social media and their family wants to be big and famous. So they say, oh, I'm so-and-so's cousin or I'm so-and-so's brother. And then they start, getting somebody to follow them. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But maybe these people should keep their families out of social media, or these family members should not say that they're family members and just be like, I'm friends with Debo or I'm friends with Ayuk. But that's where it's gotten us into the last couple of years is social media. Social media told us Debo wasn't happy. His mom, remember the video with his mom saying, they need to pay him. And then you have Ayuk's wife or girlfriend, baby mama coming out and saying, we might not even be living out here in the Bay anymore. If you've seen the Friday night show, it had the pictures of the different bridges in the Bay Area. And I thought it was really neat because what does a bridge do? A bridge brings 2 places together. It allows you to get from one area to the other area. And really from there, you can go anywhere. So the possibility of going anywhere, the ability to have any of your dreams come true, but the idea of traveling and getting there safely is the most important thing. And then having different routes to be able to ideally get to the same place you want to go. That's where it comes down to. there's this dream in the Bay Area that they want to build a super train that goes around the BART all the way around the Bay Area. So you could start up there at the Golden Gate Bridge. You could go around Corey's house. You could come down to where Santa Clara is at, where Levi Stadium's at, come around the backside, come up the coastline, and then meet back up there in San Francisco. It would be a great thing when they ever get it fixed. But you got to think about logistics. You got to think about, everything that's going to happen to the people who's around there and stuff. It's literally feasible, right? And it would give everybody an opportunity to travel and a different way to travel safely. Right now, what happened on the East Coast with the bridge coming out and stuff like that. Over here in California, in the Bay Area, if a bridge goes down, we still have an ability to use different route. And there's still an ability to go all the way around the Bay. But right now we've cut and we've made these shortcuts. So again, like what the Niners have done is they've given these wide receivers options. And they said, okay, well, if you want to go somewhere else, you think you can get paid in Pittsburgh, or you want to go to New England and you want to go, remember what it's like in California. Weather's not that bad. And you have a lot of different ways to commute and get to work. So if you feel like you need to go and see it somewhere else, hey, more power to you. David, what else you got? How you feeling? I'm really excited over the whole draft. I really am. I think we got some players, and when it gets closer and closer to mini camp, and I think we'll start finding out a little bit more about this stuff. As of this season, I don't think anyone's getting traded. But if they end up coming out next season saying Devo's not here or Ayuk's not here, I'm not going to be surprised. I don't know if I'll be mad at the moment or not, but I tell you what, I know I'll still be a 49er fan. So, again, how are you feeling about this year's drafts, and how you feel about the Niners overall right now?
As the draft was happening, I was disappointed that, we weren't taking offensive linemen that were available. But like I said, before the draft, we don't know who's on the Niners board and how they have it arranged, right? So then, the draft's happening, and I'm seeing Roger Rosengarten fall, and that was the guy we talked with extensively, and Chris Forrester and, John Lynch went up there and talked to him during their pro day up at Washington. So here he is dropping, and, pick 63 is coming up. Baltimore picked 62, and they picked him, right? I was like, great. I honestly have no problem with who they drafted in the draft. Ricky Purcell's, a lot of scouts had him second, third round grade. We took him with the first round pick because obviously we like him, right? That's what the Niners like him. So what was it? The question is, was he one of those 22 first round grade guys? Right? You remember that? 22 first round grades, 16 gold helmets. Was Ricky Purcell's a gold helmet? It's like, I want to ask Kyle and John.
I don't think we'll ever know. And I think if you ask them now, the answer will be, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. But it won't be, you won't see the real paper where it said his name. I don't think you'll see that. But hey, it's kind of like, the owner coming up, with the story and saying, yeah, the coach was talking to me, and, he's like, the third string quarterback over there is the best quarterback on the team. Yeah, it's nice to say that like the day before you're playing in the Super Bowl and have this, or a week before the Super Bowl. It's nice to have these like flattering conversations that you had in the past that nobody was around to hear, or it's a story. It's a great story. So I love the stories, David. I love the stories.
I'm laughing at the chat. Stevo said he gave a Lynch answer.
Well, hey, Steve-O brought up a good question too. Let me get your opinion on this. His question is which quarterback will have the most passing yards in the NFC West?
The safe bet would be Matthew Stafford, because that's what the Rams do, is they sling the ball around all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly thinking Brock Purdy will, because I think Kyle last year's playoffs and us passing the ball around as much as we did might be a precursor to what's coming in this upcoming season. So I honestly think Brock Purdy could edge him out.
All right, so here's my thoughts. I think it's going to be Brock Purdy because I think Matthew Stafford's going to get hurt. I think he's going to get hurt, and I think we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo playing for the Rams at least 8 games next year. I think we will play against Jimmy in the season next year. So I think Brock Purdy will be the number 1 quarterback. I think Kyler Murray could potentially be the second, and then maybe Jimmy, and then maybe Seattle. I think Seattle takes a little bit of a step back. I think they're gonna, but I say that every year, and then look at what happens to Seattle. There, Seattle always makes me a little upset. They always do better than what I would hope for. But hey, shout out! You need good competition to make yourself better, right? So if the NFC West again is what the NFC West has been in the past, then it's going to be one of the harder divisions out there. David, I'd like to thank you again for coming on with me. It's always fun when we get together. Culp and McNiner show on Sundays are fun. Grab a cup of coffee, and I appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate you, and I like everybody that comes in the chat. You guys are always civil and great. Appreciate you guys. It's fun to get on and talk a little bit about the 49ers. David, I give my prediction on Friday, my record prediction, my early record prediction. And if you guys didn't hear it then, I'll tell you now. I would like to know your record prediction as well, though. Mine is 15-2. Niners are going 15-2, and that's the record for the season, not including playoffs, not including Super Bowl. We were going to win it all, though, folks.
I'm thinking 13-4.
13-4. All right.
We have a tough schedule. Not, the Niners are a good football team. It's not like we couldn't win every game if we wanted to, but we have a tough schedule.
Hey, we got really close last year. You got really, really close. I think you were almost dead on last year with your record.
I think I actually picked. Didn't I pick 13-4 to start with? I think I did.
I think you had 2 numbers. I think you said 13-4, and I think you said I think you had 2. You were 13-4, or the other one. It was you didn't say 12-5.
Was it 12-5?
I think it was 14-3.
I did say it depends. It depends on if we're able to stay healthy.
Yeah. Well, Tony definitely is remembering. So I think you're pretty close on. I'm going to say 15-2. I'm gonna pound my chest. I'm gonna say we probably lose a game that we should have won, and we're probably gonna win a game that should lose. So. Folks, I appreciate you all for coming. Hey, maybe I'll talk to Tony here in the next couple of days, and maybe we'll try to get together and have a McNiner and Culp cup giveaway for the loyal people in the chat. Shout out to Gammon coming through. Make sure you check out Gammon. Appreciate Gammon.
Oh, yeah, we're streaming on both channels. So if you're watching on Bryant's, if you do me a favor, just pop over to mine, hit the like. I'd appreciate it. If you're watching on mine, pop over to Bryant's and hit the like.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. Sundays are the only days we get together and stream on both channels. Sorry about the kids in the background. They're telling me it's probably time to come out and play and say hello. If you guys didn't get to check out any Star Wars movies yesterday, it's May the 4th be with you. Definitely, maybe watch a Star Wars movie. I actually have to say I did not watch not one. We watched a bunch of X-Men movies. My kids right now are into the X-Men. I'm definitely into the X-Men 97 cartoon right now. So if you haven't seen that either, go check that out. But until then, we'll be back with some 49er news and some other stuff that comes up next week. Next week's Mother's Day, so we might have a shorter Mother's Day show, but we'll figure that out and we'll go from there. But folks, turn your notifications on for both channels. Please like and subscribe. And with that, David, what else you got going on?
Well, tomorrow it's Niners coast to coast, buddy. we're back. We're with Ty. We're going to go more in depth into the draft and, the players that we picked up in UDFA, right? Tuesday, I'll be streaming with Bashar on my channel. Hopefully it'll be a reoccurring stream. Sometimes he can't make it, but as long as you subscribe and have the notification bell on, you'll know when that's happening, right?
That's right.
And Wednesday, I got 2 shows going on. I'll be streaming with Ted in the afternoon, and then we'll be doing the trivia later on that night. So get starting to get busy,
Yeah. Sometimes that's the best thing, being busy, and sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of time. But David, you got a great channel and you got a lot of great people that support and will work with you. And I will definitely be there watching, or there with you when I get a opportunity. But folks, please check out David McNiner tomorrow night. We'll be back together again with Ty Austin the Great, and I just gotta tune in. David will be going into more detail with the draft picks. We have a little bit of a fun show on Sundays. Me and him have a little bit more of our humor, but we'll go into a little bit more of the statistics tomorrow with Ty and break down some of the great players that we got and some of our new guys. So again, thank you for coming, and folks, stay faithful, and we will see you next time. David, thank you again, and everybody, trust the process, stay faithful, go Niners.
Go Niners, F all 31 other